Hello, this is Graphic Design Promotion for BPA by Arjav Chokshi. That's me. So, the slogan that I chose to do for my project was Reach for the Stars. I think the slogan really embodies the spirit of BPA, and it always encourages students to just go beyond their limits. So, a specific style that I wanted to emulate was retrofuturism. So, this is a style that is inspired by the 20th century space race as well as futuristic design of the time, like back in the 60s or 70s. So, why retrofuturism? Well, since my slogan was Reach for the Stars, retrofuturism often had to do with space, and so it was fitting in that way. In addition, the space race is reminiscent of the competitive spirit that BPA encourages. I think competition often brings out the best in people, and I think that's true for the space race and for NLC. In addition, it's aesthetically pleasing and it is cohesive with current design trends. So, the NLC is taking place in Anaheim, California. In order for the flyer and logos to be effective, I need to reference location in order to sort of let the audience know what's going on in the poster. So, the most recognizable feature of Anaheim is definitely the Pixar Pal Around. Um, this is a Ferris wheel that pops up when you search on Google Images or um, just any material about Anaheim always has the Ferris wheel in it. So the overall layout and design of my poster was meant to emulate a retrofuturistic flyer. So as a viewer, you would start near the top because that's where the words stand out because they're white. So the slogan arches upward, so the viewer can really feel the reach for the stars. And as you can see, the third ellipse is a star, and that sort of symbolizes reaching the star once you reach for it. The Ferris wheel is representative of the Pixar Pal Around. That's pretty self-explanatory. And once the viewer's attention travels to the bottom, they get detailed information about NLC using text hierarchy. So the biggest text is the most important, and then as you go smaller, there's more and more details, such as the actual location and the dates. So the design for the logo and pin, I wanted to make it a little bit more minimalistic and versatile. So this can go on t-shirts or it can go on pins. So I created this image in Adobe Illustrator, and since that's vector-based, I can resize this image to whatever size that I want, and it will not lose any quality. So text hierarchy I used in a more contemporary way with the BPA and the NLC. They're sort of connected, but it's sort of BPA comes first, and and then NLC is under it. So it sort of shows you the hierarchy of the importance. I put the slogan on the bottom for the logo, and I put it on the top for the pin, just because it was more pleasing that way. Because the viewer's attention often goes to the bottom first in the logo and the top first in the pin. The Ferris wheel imagery, such as the red circle in both the pin and the logo, was used to create continuity between the flyer and the pins. For typography, I used Apple Garamond, which is old-style serif font, which is commonly used in vintage designs. In addition, the company Apple used it back in the 60s and 70s in their ads, and I just think it has a really good vintage feel. In addition, I used a decorative font, Righteous. This was used for the logo and pin to create like a sleek, futuristic, and minimalistic look. So this is the color palette that I chose. The red represents the strength and competition that is shown at NLC. The pink represents the creativity of the BPA members. The green represents growth and is a soothing color to the viewer. The black is a backdrop in which the astronaut and the Ferris wheel pop out, and really the viewer can understand the way that they're supposed to interpret the graphic from top to bottom. Yeah. So the texturing was really important for this type of style because when you look up any of those posters, they always have this faded look to them. So a part of this was CMYK comic textures. So this is a texture that sort of gives off like a comic look to the graphics. So I added that to the astronaut and the Ferris wheel. And then I added a faded paper texture to add to the whole vintage feel of the entire flyer. So these are the programs used. Adobe Photoshop was mainly used for the flyer. I applied the textures, I colored it, I collaged it, I cropped it. Basically, a bulk of the work was done in Photoshop. Illustrator was used mainly for the logo and the pin. So since these are vector based, it's more comfortable to make in Illustrator since they have more versatility for vectors. Thank you for listening, and this has been a graphic design promotion by Arjav Chakshi. Thank you.